First, I'd like to start with a little something off the subject. I'd like to offer, from our entire staff and all the UTEP family, our condolences to Joey Kramer and his family. Joey Kramer is a player that we recruited in 2014. He had some family issues that he had to transfer. He went home. He passed away in a car accident Saturday evening. He was very close friends with several players on our team, and it's been a tough day for them. And I just, as a dad myself, I just want to offer my condolences to his family, and I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Talking about this weekend's game, it wasn't our best performance, in particular the first half, but again, I felt that the team responded well in the second half, both offensively and defensively, and did what they had to do to get a win. We're 2-2, which was our goal at this point, to be undefeated at home, which we are right now, and excited about having the opportunity to play UTSA for our homecoming game coming up. Offensively in this game, we talked about having no pre-post snap penalties. This is a trend that needs to drastically improve. We had 2 holding calls. We had an intentional grounding due to an assignment error in protection. And we had 2 substitution infractions, again, which can't happen. One was based on a player, and then we had a gaffe at the end of the half where we had too many guys on the field. Again, when you're dealing with a young quarterback, you're going to go through some growing pains with that, but it's something that we need to clean up quickly. We talked about winning on the perimeter, catching all the catchables. Again, I thought the receivers did a nice job in this game. We had 0 drops for the second time this year. I think these guys have been consistently catching the ball in 28 pass attempts. That's a good job. I don't think we did as good a job blocking on the perimeter as we have in the past, and that's something that we need to improve upon. We talked about handling a different front up front, the odd front. We had mentioned all week, really felt this team had a very good defense. I mentioned after the game that this defense was on par with many of the teams in our own conference, and I still believe that. They had 7 tackles for losses, again, another trend that we have to do a better job of. We talked about running back by committee and team. We did not do a good job rushing the ball. We really did get in disarray in that first half. We lost Darren LaFossa the first carry of the game. I don't know the status of his injury at this point. I'm hoping that we have him available, but we won't know, so don't ask. And right now that put us in a bind. He was our starting fullback. We already know our depth issues at tailbacks, and we want one back. He was also our starting one back, so there was quite a bit of adjustments that had to go on at halftime. And I thought the coaches did the necessary jobs making those adjustments, and we moved the ball more efficiently in the second half. We talked about handling number 8, who I felt, in my mind, is a NFL-type player, and I still think that. He had 2.5 tackles for losses and a quarterback hit and 9 tackles, so we did not perform that task up to our abilities. We talked, before the game, told Ryan Metz to be Ryan Metz. Go out there and be energized, be a leader. Again, he came through in the clutch. He was 71%. He was 20 of 28 passing the ball, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. He took no sacks, and he didn't turn the ball over, which we had no turnovers on offense, something that I was very pleased with. Time of possession was in our favor. I don't think we did a good job on 3rd downs. In particular, getting stuffed on a short yardage, again, due to an assignment error. And then we had a couple makeable 3rd downs that we didn't cash in on. So we need to improve in that area. We're only 33% there. And then we got to do a better job when we get in the red zone. We've been good all season. We were 100% the week before, but we were only 1 for 2 in red zone scoring. Field goals on the offensive side are a loss. Defensively, we talked about stuff in the run. Really a lot of their rushing yardage came on the one long quarterback scramble, which can't happen. We had him bottled up. I thought that guy was a very nifty quarterback, guy that can make plays with his legs, and he busted a long one. Fortunately for us, it was a great hustle play by Kalon Beverly, and really getting that guy to lunge, forcing him out of bounds, and before he lunged, he lost the handle on the football. But they did have a 4.1 yard average, which is too much. We talked about shutting down the big tight end. He did have some catches early in the game, and from that point on, I think the linebackers and safeties did a good job on him. He had been their leading receiver. He ended up with 2 catches for 28 yards, and I mentioned 20 of them came on one play early in the game. We talked about having hard man focus on the receivers. Again, we got beat by number 22 twice, one for a 90-yard touchdown in a 2nd and long situation, again, when we should have that thing bottled up. A concerning number is, teams have been averaging 19 yards a catch, and that's too many explosive plays on us up to this point. We talked about getting off the field on 3rd downs. We got off the field at a success rate of 37.5, which is decent. We got to be better than that. We were better in the second half than we were in the first, but they did have some explosive plays, 62 yards, 34-yard touchdown, and a 23-yard screen on 3rd and longs. When we got people in 3rd and longs and have worked hard on 2 downs to put them in 3rd and longs, we've got to cash out on that. We talked about, creating our own energy and feeding off the crowd. I thought the crowd was outstanding, even though it was small in numbers. They were very loud. They were very vocal. They did cause some disruption in the second half. And, again, I didn't feel like the energy of the crowd really didn't get up until the second half because we didn't do anything in the first half to get them energized. I really feel the crowd feeds off the players. I feel in the second half we started generating some sacks, which we did. We had 4 sacks. If you watch the film, there probably could have been about 8 if we just wrap up and tackle and run through our tackles. And we did create some tackles for losses. And again, that creates energy from the crowd. Overall in defense, there was some disruption, 4 tackles for losses. The 4 sacks that I mentioned, we had 9 quarterback hits, and some of those, the guy was Houdini. He got out of those and made some plays extended with his legs. We gave up too many explosive plays, 7. One thing I was pleased with the defense, very good in transition. The offense, again, was stopped on a 4th and 1. And the defense held their own on that particular series. And then to start the second half, they hit us with an onside kick, and the defense, again, on a short field, came through with a blocked field goal, so they didn't result in points. So they did a good job in transition. I think tackling in space was improved in this game, but again, too many opportunities for that quarterback to get out of the pocket and make big plays. Special teams, I think Luna got back on track. He was a 45.4 average. He did have 1 bad kick, but he had several outstanding kicks, and they were coming after him. He did a good job under pressure in that game. Punt return, we didn't have any returns, but we need to do a better job of making good decisions in the punt return. I know we lost some yards by decision-making by Jaquan in the New Mexico State game, and then he made an error fielding a punt inside the 10, which is a no-no at any level, and he'll be better at that this week. Kickoff cover, again, for the 2nd week in a row, really the 3rd week in a row. I think they're doing an outstanding job. They had 2 tackles inside the 20. We had an opportunity to get 1 inside the 5 when the guy was trying to make a play, number 8, and taking it out late. But, again, if we can keep him pinned inside the 20, we'll be in good shape on kickoff cover. Kickoff return, we only had 1 return for 21 yards, 1 missed block away from getting an extended yardage on that. And again, but near misses don't count. We got to be perfect, and we got to get hats on hats and allow Autry to do his thing. PAT field goal block for the 2nd week in a row. We got one. Last week was Nick Usher. This week was Nick Needham. And again, it was a big play for us. Their kicker had been kicking it low. We got good penetration, and Needham came off the edge and blocked that. That was a big play for us. And then PAT field goal, we call Jay Maddox automatics. He's been 100% on PAT field goals this year, and he's doing a great job on kickoffs. He will be captain of the week. He will also represent our team this week, carrying out the pickaxe, which is a minor tradition, and he deserves that. So, again, I felt that Incarnate Word was a good team. I felt that all week. I was nervous about this game because the quality of their defense. Mentioned after the game, we're an extremely banged-up team. But, again, we just got to keep fighting. They're not going to cancel the season because we're banged up. So we just got to keep fighting, keep getting after it, keep trying to improve on fundamentals, and keep trying to work on our weaknesses because we have several at this time, and that's up to the coaching staff, the players, and the want-to of everybody. Coming up this week, we play UT San Antonio, and in my mind, they had the hardest schedule in the country. They're sitting at 0-4 right now, but I think they're a very good football team. They started off with 4 bowl game teams from 2014. They played at then 22-ranked Arizona, played them extremely tough, lost 42-32. They played Kansas State. That was a tight game all the way until the third quarter, who was also a ranked bowl team. They played number 25 Oklahoma State, who will probably be much higher after they beat Texas. Kind of got away from them in that game. And then they played another bowl team, Colorado State, and had a chance to beat them. They lost last week 33-31. So, you know, they've been very competitive. They played an extremely hard schedule, and they're coming to our place this year. Overall, as a team, they've been about even in time of possession, 29 minutes and 5 seconds. They have been penalized more than they were last year, averaging 9 per game, kind of reflection of a younger team. They graduated some guys from last year. Where their biggest struggle has been is turnovers, much like ours was up until this past week. Going into last week, we were -6. Overall, they're -8. They've had 6 fumbles and 4 interceptions, and they've gained 2 fumbles on defense. So that's probably the telling story for them, where their record is, where they're at. Offensively, they're a multiple offense. They're doing a little bit more up-tempo type things this year. They're averaging 20 points a game. They're running the ball extremely well. Number 2 is an outstanding running back. As a team, they're averaging 171 yards and 4.3 per carry, 6 touchdowns. They're very balanced, 211 yards passing, 11.6 per catch, 4 touchdowns. So they're averaging close to 400 yards a game. They've given up 9 sacks. As I mentioned, the turnovers. Third downs are at 37%, probably an area I'm sure that they're trying to improve upon, an area that we need to keep them at. And then red zone touchdowns, they're 53%. So again, probably an area they're trying to improve upon. Only 2 returning starters on the offensive line. Last year, they were a very veteran team. In fact, last year, they were the most veteran team in college football. But they're doing a nice job coaching up these young guys. And again, I don't see a lot of drop-off. If any, I think they're a better team than what they were from last year. The quarterback, number 4, he did not play against us last year. Bogan Schultz, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Very athletic quarterback, runs their offense very well. They play some other quarterbacks in there, but this guy's got 699 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He can also run. He's got a long of 42 with a touchdown. He's another guy that can make plays with his legs. I think they have an NFL-type player in their tight end, Morgan. He's 6'4", 260. This guy is physical. He's got great hands. He can run. He reminds me of our own guy, Plinky. He's got 17 receptions, 222 yards, 13.1 per catch, which is excellent for a tight end, 2 touchdowns. So he's kind of their go-to guy in the passing game, which gives them a threat. The running back is outstanding. We felt that last year. He's averaging 6.1 yards a carry, number 2. He's a powerfully built guy, 5'9", 200, physical player, averaging 92 yards a game. He's got 3 touchdowns, and he can scoot. He's got a long of 85. They've got 4 excellent receivers, 81 Bias and 88 Grubbs. Grubbs their leading receiver right now, but number 7 and number 83 also have touchdowns. And as I mentioned, the 2 returning starters, the right guard has 18 starts under his belt, and the right tackle has 11 starts under the belt. The right tackle is a very athletic lineman in my mind. Defensively, they hang their hat on playing good defense. They're a nickel 4-2-5 defense. They've always been stout up front. This year, again, they've played some quality opponents. They're giving up 43 points a game, 182 yards rushing, 4.4 clip, 262 passing. So they have given up some yards, but they've played probably some of the best offenses in the country when you talk about Arizona and Oklahoma State. They have gotten 7 sacks on defense. They probably want to get more turnovers than what they've been getting. They've only gotten 2 fumbles. Getting off the field, 49% success rate, third down. So kind of a formula that we're trying to stick up with is third down percentage getting off the field below 35%. And then 60% red zone touchdowns. So those are probably areas, again, just like us, that they're trying to improve upon. Special teams, they got a lot of young guys, but a lot of guys with a lot of talent. Their punter is a redshirt freshman. He's averaged 39.8 a punt. Their punt returner is a 185-pound high school freshman. They have blocked a punt this year. They always do a nice job on special teams. They're very well coached throughout. And then their kickoff cover, their kicker is a sophomore. They have had some kick returns on them. Last year, their kicker banged it out of the end zone almost every single time. Well, we hopefully will get some kick opportunities against these guys. Kickoff returner is a high school freshman. Again, averaging 19.7, long of 34. And then their field goal kicker is 4-7. He has had one blocked, long of 51, so he does have the leg, okay? So specialties-wise, they do have some youth, but they do have some talent. I have a lot of respect for Coach Kugler. I think he's an excellent coach. I always think UT San Antonio is well coached. A football team, great with fundamentals, and we expect a battle at homecoming. I'm hoping that all the Miner fans come out and support our team. They get energized by the fans, and we think our fans are great. Any questions?
Kind of three running back personnel questions back there. Do you consider a position switch for Kavika?
Kavika probably will get more reps at running back. We've utilized him there some. We did some in the past game, especially after the injury to Darren LaFossa. That's something that we'll look at. But again, Jeremiah LaFossa will get most of the load. We still have L.A. Dowell, again, working with the offense. He'll get some of those carries. We're going to get Trayvon Hughes going a little bit. You know, Trayvon's a young player that needs to get in his groove. He'll get some opportunities this week, and then we'll have to generate some running yards trying to get the ball to some other people in their hands. But, again, it's got to be a running back by committee type thing, and I am hoping that we get Darren LaFossa back, but I can't tell you that right now. I don't know. Donovan Walker quit, and I don't spend time talking about kids that quit.
Would you consider giving Andre a few carries?
Absolutely.
The offensive line, you talked about some of the missed assignments and stuff. Is that really disconcerting because you've got to get into the season?
I wouldn't pin that all on the offensive line. In fact, I'd mentioned the protection was an assignment error. That was actually the fullback. Some of those tackles for losses were based on perimeter blocking, which sometimes involves the receivers and tight ends. The one that stuck my craw was the 4th and 1. That was an interior mental assignment. And, again, our offensive line plays extremely well. I think Spencer Leftwich is an outstanding coach. They gave up no sacks, 28 attempts. They've given up 2 sacks in 4 games. They've run the ball efficiently throughout most of the year. They had a tough night. And again, when your run game plan goes, quickly, and you're shuffling guys that didn't practice those plays, it makes it a little bit more difficult. The running game is a combination of the O-line and the running back. And again, I just didn't think we ran the ball efficiently, but I'm certainly not going to pin that all on the offensive line because there's a lot that goes into that. And again, in crunch time, I thought again for the second week in a row, they were flawless in protection. Going against number 8, I thought our tackles and protection handled him very well. So I'm not displeased with them whatsoever. That we just need to get better. Yeah.
Talk about getting the game going and causing, like UTSA, the quarterback, it seems when he has time to fix it apart on board, just to continue what you did.
Well, you know, you're right. Sky did have a good game, and he'll get more reps and potentially even start in this next game. And, you know, and I mentioned it last week when we talked about Ryan Metz. Going with a hot hand, that's what every player. You know, the guy that's playing the best, the guy that's working the hardest in practice, the guy that's showing up on film, that's going to be the guy that's going to be out there playing. We'd be crazy not to get our best 11 out there. So when you go through injuries, sometimes you have to put guys in positions to see if they can play. And Skyler did a great job. He did generate some pressure, even on stunts where he didn't get the sack. You know, he forced a sack. So very pleased with his progress. Again, he'll probably get the start this week, and I'm looking forward to him getting better. And several players, you know, improving their performances.
Last quarter and a half, you threw the ball a lot more. Is that something we're going to see?
You know what, Brett, I think we have to. You know, again, we're really depleted at the running back position. When you talk about, you know, if you add Darren into the mix, you're talking about your number 1, number 2, and number 3 running back ain't there. You know, your starting quarterback that started the season ain't there. So, you know, our receivers are making plays. I think Metz is doing a great job. within the offense, making plays, making the right reads, and throwing accurate balls for the most part. So again, we have become more balanced over the last 2 weeks, and we'll probably have to continue that throughout the season. Again, are we going to become a 4 wide receiver spread offense? No. We do have to mix in the run. We do have to mix in the play action pass, but probably out of necessity, you'll see more balance and maybe even at times more leaning towards the pass game. And but again, as a head coach, I don't care. I don't care if we go out and run the wishbone, if it gives us our best opportunity to win games. And that's what we're in the business of doing, is winning games. Yeah, we got to do a better job. And when I say the word hard man focus, you know, it's just focusing in on your job, whether it's man coverage and you're focusing specifically on one guy, or it's zone coverage and you're responsible for a zone. We've had some eye violations where guys get caught up in play action pass. We've had some guys that have had dropped, you know, what we call flare control, when we run a gut pressure and they release somebody to the flat and we lose responsibility right there. Those type of big plays have killed us, and those to me are correctable because they're assignment type issues, and we just got to keep coaching those young guys up, keep coaching them to understand those things and keep trying to get them better. You know, again, I use Kaylon Beverly as an example. This kid's getting better and better each week. He made some outstanding plays in this past game. He made some errors in this past game, you know, one that resulted in a touchdown. What do? You just keep coaching them up, and you keep trying to get them to get better, keep trying to focus on their strengths, and keep trying to work on their weaknesses. And that's just not with him. That's with every player on their team. But, yeah, they got some outstanding receivers, 81 being one of them. They're a little bit more up-tempo offensively, you know, and last year, you know, I felt UT San Antonio, probably after 2 games into the season, was probably the best team in our conference. And then they lost their quarterback, and then the backup quarterback got hurt. And it really put them in a tailspin. But they played outstanding defense. They could run the ball. They could do everything. Now, this year, they got healthy quarterback play, and you're seeing the exact same thing. I think they're playing outstanding on the offensive side of the ball, and they're playing great fundamentals. I think they're well coached. I think they're a hard-nosed program. I think they're physical, and I don't see a drop-off in play whatsoever. The young guys that they got coming up, some of those guys have a little bit more talent than some of the older guys that they graduated, but those guys had a lot of experience. So, you know, they're probably in the same boat that we are right now. They haven't gone through the injuries that we have, but they're a younger team, and they're going, you know, you see their depth chart has changed quite a bit. That probably means that they're tinkering around with certain guys trying to get the right mix out there, as we are. Anybody got anything else? All right, thanks, guys.